Hi everyone, so this is the update for day 25 and I did not do much for the whole day, but at night I got this notification from this app called as Gentler Streak, and it was about my Muay Thai session, and it gave me this like when I opened the view, I saw this, like if when I go back and click it again, you see how this jumps and shows the heart rate training zone. So that was the first thing that I noticed. And when I noticed it, I was like, okay, I need this in Zenther. And I was almost going to sleep at that time. Not almost, I was going to sleep. I just got this notification. I wanted to check it out. What was it? So so I was like, okay, I went to Alex and I asked it that I will actually show you the whole chat so you understand how I use this AI driven coding. So let's see which chat is what. I think it was this one, yeah. So let's go through the whole chat to understand what it takes to build a feature. Uh, okay, so there are two chats. Okay, yeah. So what the first thing I did was make sure that it understood the heart rate, the please understand the workout detailed view. So it has an idea on how the things are there and how the design system is and the architecture, because now I am at a point where I can one shot the design but I cannot get the logic correct directly, which is a part that the it's difficult to nail down directly. So it was going through all the way of how I'm doing it, and then I asked it that how I want to have this heart rate zone. Do not make any changes to the code, but directly just suggest me and brainstorm around it. So it says, based on my analysis, I would imagine this would integrate beautifully with the existing heart rate view, and the heart rate zones are 0 and 3 4, and the color strategy, it gave me the option. So I asked it, should I have the color option? Like if you see the Zenther app, it has a color coded screen, right? So should I have the color coded screen scheme, or should I have it with the default colors? And it's like the standard fitness colors, which is the blue, green, yellow. And the cons are, it might clash with your color theme, might look inconsistent, it does, and may break the cohesive design language that you establish. So it recommended that I go with the standard fitness colors. It's a user mental model because this is what they're used to seeing, and this is what I'm used to seeing as well. So it gave me the idea of using the chart for the current ones, like the theme for the current ones, keep the class card, and then for the existing color code the segments, and the new component to add the summary, the distribution pie chart. So it actually added some pie chart and a timeline as well. So I am not using that, I'm just using the normal horizontal charts, but that is another thing. So I said, like how you did it sleeve, we should go with the standard colors. And then like, okay, I will go and do the standard colors, and it then wrote the code. And then I recommend the horizontal bar, and then we went with the horizontal bar. Amazing work. And then it started doing a bit more extra stuff. So I was like, can you not touch the heart and the average max, and what even is this 90%? It had this target zone, I have no idea what. And I love this idea of zone 3 dominance. So now I will show you the code itself. So when I go to mix cardio, you see that it says the dominant zone, and it looks so pretty. So the dominant zone was zone 3, and then the heart rate zones, the color circles. So it did a lot of the code on like making circles for the zone colors, and then adding extra views below it. So it was like one chart and then mentioning the zone. I'm like, remove the 5 zones, because I feel like you're making a lot of redundant code, like it feels a lot of redundant information. And it's like, I think, okay. And you're like, absolutely right, of course it's Sonnet, it has to say that. And then I think it removed the name description. It was giving me a name for each of them, the target percentage, and then we meant like, okay, it is what I want you to do. So it was, I wanted it to have the 9.6 and 10 minutes as well, adding it here. I wanted it to add to this line itself. So it removed the dot and the zone 3. So there was some dot here, and then like a yellow dot, and then the zone 3 is white color. So I'm like, no, so don't do that. And then we were asking like, how is it and do you recommend? So at this point I had integrated the whole thing and it was working very well. And then I asked it to add this information marker so that people understand how I'm doing the calculation. And then it was able to one shot this very beautifully because it understands the design language. So when we were like, why are you using the overlay? So it was using an overlay instead of just adding a spacer here and for the button. So I told him not to do that, so you can see that there's this thing. Otherwise it would, if I would have used the overlay, it would have been perfectly here. And I do not want to write the heart rate zone, so it was writing a text here and I didn't want that. So now it is telling me perfect. Now it is dominant zone spacer and the dot I. And then like, so now we were doing the, so it also added a dismiss button here, like a cross button here, which did not make sense. Then it added a what do you say, a done button, so I had to remove that manually. So that is the only part I did manually, otherwise everything was wipe coded here. And then the next problem was that for a zone 3 workout, it was giving me uh, like for walking for an average of 116, which is like zone 1, it was giving me zone 3. So I was like, what's wrong? So it said, you're absolutely right, there's a bug in my calculation, and the real problem is that it is way too low. So it was getting the maximum average heart rate not based on the person but based on the workout. So based on that, it was calculating the 60% or the 80%, and of course it will be zone 3 in that way. So we are like, okay, why are you taking the max HR like this? I think we need to work on the logic and use the user's max HR. So like, you are absolutely right, my HR is fundamentally flawed. Let me look for the user and let me check the metabolic profile. So I can see that there's a age profile, so it was using the standard calculation of 220 minus age formula, and if there's no age, it will use as a fallback of 185. So I said just use a fallback of 190 instead, so it's like a 30-year-old person. And that's how we worked it out, and this feature was complete. So this is how I actually did the feature, and it, I think, took me like 20 minutes of back and forth. And then I was like, okay, one thing that I was doing, that if you have seen me do, is that I I have to go back to go to a workout, but when I would click on a workout, I could not click on this. So this is what I asked, and this is, I use the Max dictation for this, and it is very good. It on my MacBook Air, and it was going through all the file to understand this generic heat map, and then it was creating the calendar view. But what it was doing was, it was creating a view directly on tapping it. If there's a one workout, I'm like, no, that's not what you have to do. And so this is then the zoom navigation. I asked it to use the zoom navigation. So if you go back and see, this is how I use the zoom navigation, which is pretty nice, and I wanted the same here as well. So we were discussing and it is working now. Please add it to the individual items on the expand. So it's like, oh, I see what you mean now, and then I understand now. You want original behavior, you tap a grid item, and in the expanded view it adds the, so it's like, it's opening a black screen, what's this? And then finally it did all the changes. I'm like, lovely, lovely, because I was too sleepy. And so when I click on this, now it just opens directly like a very beautiful view. So it took me like 10 minutes to get this working. I could have done it myself because this was a very easy thing to do, but I am so used to vibe coding that I decided not to. So that was the update of working on this very nice heart rate zones, and I'm really happy on how it turned out. In like half an hour I had this both features working, and it makes it so much easier now because I have the design language set, so I can easily use the AI to augment it my working speed. I could not have done the zones myself so fast. So that is the update for day 25, and let's see what happens on day 26. So thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day.